Okay, so I thought I would do a video today about the brain, and thank you for watching in advance. So today I wanted to look at why sometimes we have an emotional response to something that we might not necessarily like, and why we sometimes feel a bit crap about certain situations, and how they sometimes snowball and you feel the same about smaller situations. So here is my wonderful diagram of the brain. I'm well aware it doesn't look very brain-like, but you kind of get the gist. So there's 7 main parts. So you've got the brainstem, the cerebellum, the occipital, the temporal, limbic, parietal and frontal. And the 3 we're going to look at are the limbic, parietal and frontal. I am aware there's loads of other things that go on in the brain and loads of other pieces of the brain, but this just kind of helps for this sort of explanation. So firstly, your limbic. Now, the best way to look at your limbic is it's kind of like what's left of the chimp. Obviously we've evolved from chimps and apes. Kind of just think of that as what's left. And now that's your emotional core. And the blood flow to the limbic is stronger than it is for the frontal and the parietal. That is why you'll always get an emotional response, or most of the time anyway, get a strong emotional response first before this one kicks in. So, for example, road rage, really good example. Someone cuts you up, how very dare they, but someone cuts you up and instantly you might feel angry, you might honk your horn, you might start to swear, you might roll your window down. That's your limbic, because straight away the monkey in your mind's gone, who do they think they are, cutting me up? Bad people. Again, I'm trying not to swear, I'm trying to kind of ease out the swearing, it's part of my daily vocabulary, so I'm trying not to swear as much. So yeah, you've got your limbic, which will react first. Then after that, you'll get the frontal. Now the frontal, the best way to look at the frontal is as the human part, so it's you. So you've got your chimp part and you've got your human part. And if you ever want to know more about kind of how this works, there's a really good book called The Chimp Paradox that kind of explains in a lot better detail kind of how this all works and why we respond how we do. Now the frontal, what happens when that kicks in, that'll be the kind of the reasoning part of your brain. So if someone's cut you up, you'd be like, oh, you nasty pasty, honk your horn. I'm never going to say nasty pasty again. You honk your horn, then after that, the blood flow will start to go to your frontal, and you might be like, oh, well, maybe they were in a rush. Maybe they had a pregnant wife in the car seat who was giving birth. Maybe the person driving was pregnant, giving birth. Or they were late for school, dropping their kids off, whatever. So that'll be that part of your brain kicking in. But like I said, the blood flow is stronger to your limbic and weaker to your frontal. So most of the time you're always going to get a limbic or an emotional response first. And you can be hardwired to a particular emotion. So if you are pretty easy to wind up, if you're quite an angry person, the chances are when you get angry, that pattern has been used so much you'll find you get angry about quite small things. Not always the case. Mine was sometimes an anxious thing. I would find that I'd maybe have an anxious response to something quite big, and then because that got hardwired, I found I was having more anxious responses to other little things. And the reason we tend to have more anxious responses afterwards is because of this. This is the parietal. So again, think of this more as the kind of the mastermind, the kind of computer that remembers everything. It's kind of like your memory bank. And what the parietal does, it remembers these patterns that you've created. So, use the road rage as an example. You have a particularly intense response to somebody cutting you up, and so the blood flow goes straight to your limbic and then to your frontal. But that response has been so strong, it's left a bit of an imprint on the parietal. So next time you'll find it might be a bit easier to get angry, and then it'll get easier and easier and easier. And that's how patterns are formed. A good way to try and undo these patterns is the 5-second rule, which I kind of talked about in my first video. A lady called Mel Robbins brought it in. And basically count down from 5. You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that amount of time is usually enough time to kick in the frontal. And counting down is quite important because it gives you an end value. Whereas if you count up from 1 to 5, you can go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can carry on, whereas counting down gives you an end goal. So counting down activates your frontal quicker. So maybe try it next time you get a bit angry or a bit anxious. Count down from 5. Give your human part of your brain a little bit of a chance to kick in, and they'll be more rational, and hopefully you'll be able to see the situation in a better light. So I hope that kind of helps. So to kind of summarise, if you have an emotional response, it's the limbic part of your brain first. So again, let me think of something different than road rage. Okay, you're walking down a scary alley. It's dark, it's night, and you see a shadow at the end. Straight away, your limbic is like, what the hell is the shadow? You might feel a bit sick, you might feel a bit nauseous, you might feel a bit anxious. After that, your frontal might kick in and be like, oh, it's just a shadow, it's nothing to worry about. Could be a street light, could be a car driving past, could be anything. That'll be your frontal. But just say there's another shadow. So you have another emotional response. So then your frontal will kick in a little bit later. But this then is giving your parietal a chance to remember that pattern. So that's why you might find you might be a bit more hardwired to being anxious. So I hope that helps. And I hope that gives some insight into why sometimes we feel and react the way we do. And you can unwire those things. It just takes time. So I try the 5-second rule. Again, give Mel Robbins a YouTube because she's really, really interesting and got some great YouTube videos and content and explains it far better than I have. But yeah, count down from 5, give yourself a bit of a chance, give yourself a bit of a breath, and then make a decision on your reaction. But if you do get angry first, don't worry, it's normal, everyone does. Or if you do get anxious first, or if you do get sad first, or if you do get happy first, again, it works for positive emotions as well. It's fine. It's just how it works. So I hope that helps. I hope I haven't waffled on for too long. Oh, I have as well. Gosh, I need to start doing short videos. But yeah, I hope that helps. And yeah, have a lovely day. Thank you for watching.